beautiful morning. I want to welcome you all, and this was a really extraordinary opportunity to have Mayor Lee come down and see the facilities that are going to host, some of the facilities that are going to be hosting the America's Cup. And we wanted to take this opportunity after having initially briefed Mayor Lee on the America's Cup and having him had the opportunity to hear about it, to actually kind of see firsthand some of the venues and some of the real kind of opportunities of what the America's Cup is going to bring to San Francisco. So we're going to hear from the entire representatives from the entire America's Cup family and those folks that were responsible for helping to bring this event here. Without further ado, Mayor Lee.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Just walking through the piers with Jonathan from the port and members of the port and looking both internally and externally, I can't but say that not only did we make the right decision, the world has made the right decision. This is just conceivably one of the most beautiful places on earth that this 34th America's Cup could possibly be. When you look out on this just today, you're just going to get a glimpse of what millions of other people and viewers, visitors will see in 2013. And my first thought was to let you know that this was a very high priority for me. Many of you know I wasn't here in December 31st. So I've been looking for the unopened champagne bottle that was supposed to be left in room 200. Maybe it's in some supervisor's office, but there's got to be one unopened bottle there to celebrate, because knowing that this is coming on December 31st, it was a culmination of what I saw was a whirlwind of a solid year of activity ever since the Cup was won in February, and the immediate negotiations that Gavin Newsom and Jen Matz and others in the mayor's office had started, culminating in the negotiations and certainly working very closely with our Board of Supervisors to make the very best deal that we could possibly have for our citizenry and for our visitors and for the city. And that culminating in on December 31st, when I wasn't here, by the way, as you know, but yet still celebrated. I was in Hong Kong at the time, and I heard the news, and our family was jumping up and down. We got the America's Cup, we got the America's Cup, and explaining to my friends in Hong Kong what that meant. That was extraordinary for them to understand as well. It is, by no means, it is an international event. It is what Gavin has often told us at the department head meetings and the board. I sure know this and all this. It is several World Series events, several Super Bowls put together, strung together for a period of time. And I also know that it is not just a one-day event, as you all have been educating yourselves about this fantastic boat race. We will have entities from around the world building their boats here, coming here with their entourage for beginning now, actually, taking a look at the course and understanding what it is to build a boat here, and then executing what they have to do to make sure their boats are ready. This happens now. It isn't happened a year from now. They're all coming. They're beginning to come now. And so our restaurants and all of the businesses, the piers, the procurements of what they need to support their staffs coming over here, they're all beginning now. That's part of that $1.4 billion economic outlook that we had when we made this decision and got the award. 9,000 jobs. That's a heck of a lot of jobs for San Francisco to host in the coming years. And it's a great, great promise. I am so proud of this city for having done everything it can, for the full board and the mayor's office to have united on this front for the year, and for the leadership that these two supervisors to my right have demonstrated to bringing everybody together on this. It's a wonderful, wonderful feeling. And I am so lucky to have been appointed and elected to this office at this time, because it is one of my top priorities. I've said that to a number of you earlier, that the America's Cup, to get it started, would be very important to me. And so today, not only do we have the various speakers here, but it is the beginning of the execution on the promise of a world-class event being hosted here in San Francisco. And I want to let you know that my very first thought was, who's on this team? Who's coming together to help me execute this thing? Or am I going to have to go it alone? No, of course not. There are thousands of people. The whole city, the workforce, they're all very, very excited. Certainly the port is. But I wanted to let you know that the very first directive that I've issued, and I'm not so sure I have to issue such a directive, but it's just a format, a way in which we operate to make sure everybody is on the same page. And my good friend, Lieutenant Governor Newsom, is out there as well. Good morning. He knows a lot more details about this, but we've been in many of his previous pronouncements where, Ed, how are you going to implement this? Ed, how are you going to get this done? Well, we are going to get this done, obviously with the Lieutenant Governor's help as well and his enthusiastic support and leadership. I just want to give a shout out. It's a great decision, former mayor and Lieutenant Governor, and it's one that the city will cherish for years and years to come as we unveil all the things that will happen. But I want to announce today, in light of what I've said and what we know to be the importance of this, is to put together a top-notch executive steering committee team to lead this effort. And we are looking at a solid relationship with our event authority. We are looking at solid relationships with those private investors as well as all the different port entities that will be impacted. We're looking at solid relationships with our communities, all of the communities of San Francisco, all of the different agencies that need to be coordinated. And in order to do that well and all the details, you've got to have, right off the start, a very visible steering committee of people, of entities that reflect how important this is. And so the first entity I'm looking towards, you've heard from Jen Matz already. She's the director of the Office of Economic and Workforce Development. They will be the lead in forming our relationship with the host city committee, for the organizing committee, with the authority, and making sure that we honor all of the obligations that the board and the mayor and the city have already read and promised, both to our citizenry as well as our businesses as well as the agencies. We have a lot of regulatory and land use approvals to have to be done, and that office will be leading that effort as well, developing all of the event logistics with the authority and in coordination with all the different agencies. We'll be partnering through that office with the America's Cup Organizing Committee on all the private fundraising that has to get done and also the obligations. We'll also be working on a plan that promotes the city in the best that we've able to done. Now, I know we've done great events in the city, from the World Series to Super Bowls and so forth. Well, as I said earlier, this event will be a combination of all of those great events put together for literally the next 2 years leading up to it. And so, of course, we'll be promoting all of our great benefits in our local restaurants, our hotels, our retailers, our suppliers, our manufacturers, big businesses, but also small businesses. They're really a backbone, as you know, and ones that I've served for many years, and they'll be included in all of the development and planning for this. Our community relations, I said earlier, people in Hong Kong didn't know what the America's Cup was all about. People in Chinatown are still learning what the America's Cup are all about, and they're going to get a great dose from my opportunity to explain to all of the communities what this event is all about and how inclusive it will be, how inclusive it can be. It's a chance for the America's Cup to really rebrand itself, if you will, to make it an even bigger world-class event. And San Francisco is the perfect place to do that. Coordinating with our Visitors Convention Bureau, with our other agencies to make sure that the millions of visitors to San Francisco that will pay attention to this are taken care of. Right with the Office of Economic and Workforce Development would be our Port of San Francisco. Obviously, we're standing here and sitting here on their property. Brad Benson's here today representing them, along with a great director, Monique Moyer, and their whole staff are obviously very geared not only to this event, but how to balance it with all the other developments that we've been pushing very hard to do at the port. The cruise ship terminals, as you are well aware of, and also they'll be paying a lot of attention to any issues around displacement. If there's anything that the port has done, they've really communicated very well to their tenants. Obviously, this will move things around a bit, and I'm paying attention to that and working very closely with the port to make sure that they fulfill all their obligations, and also work with all of the tenants that are tenants throughout the port. Our Public Works Department will be part of this Executive Steering Committee. And I know, I didn't see Ed Risking here today, but I know that the DPW are all busy. The reason why they're probably not here today is they're busy already doing the work. And of course, they have a tradition of doing great work. Their engineering, their architectural divisions, their project management divisions. I've been working with them very closely on the whole 10-year capital plan, so I know they will be able to deliver. And working with the port already on the cruise ship terminal project that here at this pier, Pier 36 and 30 to 32, they're already in gear for that. And they'll be assisting the America's Cup Event Authority in their developments of all the major infrastructures improvements that have to occur. Our planning department, of course, we have a lot of regulatory things that we have to comply with. And our planning department will be helping us lead the effort, lead all the city agencies in undertaking and completing the environmental reviews under our CEQA, our California Environmental Quality Act obligations, and we'll be fulfilling all of those in a timely fashion. So we need the planning department right at the table. Our Municipal Transportation Authority. This is going to be a people's event. And as you know, we could not possibly handle the millions of visitors unless we work right up front with what we call a people's plan, a plan to transport people in the most environmentally sensitive way to get to all the beautiful sites, the viewing sites to view this race. And so the MTA will be working very closely with us. And of course, Mark Buell is here today representing our Recreation Park Commission. The Recreation and Park Department, they've been doing wonderful things here with the public-private partnerships that they're creating. This event, this America's Cup, the 34th, is a major, major public-private partnership that I know Mark Buell will be so happy and enjoying his time in performing this work. The other agencies will come along, our police department, our fire department, all of our emergency management divisions, the city attorney's office. Thank goodness we've got a great city attorney because they'll be helping us write all kinds of agreements to make sure we're in compliance. Our building inspection department and our controller's office are the others that will be forthcoming. But I've named the major departments that I have asked and expect under the leadership with Jen Matz and others to take the lead and immediately get to work. If there's anything reflective of my administration here, and one that I promised the Board of Supervisors, promised Gavin Newsom and others, is to get to work on these things that we've already promised, fulfill those promises the best we can. This I will repeat again and again until you are notice me ad nauseum. This is going to be a great event. It is one that I personally am entrusted with. I will do everything I can to bring this to the world-class status that it deserves and has, and the promise that people like Larry Ellison and all the other private investors will be very, very proud along with the authority. Thank you very much. And if I didn't say that earlier, announcing this, I have issued and already issued my first executive directive forming this steering committee, and copies of that will be available after everybody's speech. Thank you.
I just want to briefly thank Mayor Lee for the opportunity for the Office of Economic and Workforce Development to direct the implementation of the project of America's Cup. It is something that we are ready, willing, and able to do, having shepherded massive entitlements for projects such as the shipyard and currently Treasure Island. This is a wonderful opportunity and a responsibility that we take very seriously, and we look forward to the collaborations with everyone on this stage. With that, I would like to invite Board President David Chu to say a few words.
Good morning. First of all, welcome to District 3. And with all due respect to my colleagues from the board, welcome to the district that has the most amazing views of the city here in San Francisco, where the land and the sea and the sky meet at a place that has drawn millions of folks to San Francisco in the past, and that will draw millions of people to San Francisco when the America's Cup is here. When a number of months ago we started considering where to place the America's Cup, as I think everyone knows, we started a discussion at the Central Waterfront. And I, for one, was so pleased when we started a new conversation to bring the America's Cup to this pier and to the piers that represent the Northern Waterfront. As we all agree, I think for the city's finances, for the viewership of the event, really for the entire world, siting the America's Cup here was a tremendous decision. And I want to thank my colleagues on the board, Supervisor Mir Karimi, for your leadership, for the unanimity that a very good process led to. I want to thank former Mayor Newsom, as well as current Mayor Lee, for their ongoing commitment to making sure that this happens. As we all know, we still have a lot of work to do. Just as the board, we are going to be reading hundreds of pages of legal agreements in the coming months to make sure that the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted. But you have our commitment at the board, and I know Supervisor Mir Karimi will talk about the things that we still need to focus on at the Board of Supervisors that hand in hand with our executive branch we will be doing to move things forward. In recent months, I am very proud that I think the legislative branch and the executive branch have been moving forward together on many fronts. And this is epitomized by the work that we have done on the America's Cup. And I look forward in the coming months and the coming years to that work coming to the fruition of not just an amazing event here, but many bottles of champagne being uncorked with Mayor Lee. Thank you all for being here.
And as Supervisor Mercury is about to come up, Lieutenant Governor, you deserve to be up here. Gavin, please come on up. Come on up here and join us, because you've done so much work on this, and your leadership, working with the board. Come on up. Supervisor McCree? Okay. Come on, Gavin. Don't tell me you got nothing to say.
On behalf of the state of California, let me thank Mayor Lee for his leadership and support of this cup. Look, I have truly nothing to say except it is wonderful to be in the back, A, but B, hearing the mayor speak so passionately about this. It was a point of real concern for me, and I think for all of us, particularly Mark Buell and others that helped organize this event with members of the board, that we had the right leadership in room 200 and make sure that we had a mayor that was committed to this, not just interested in making sure this happens. Because we weren't joking when we said this a couple weeks ago, that the real work is ahead of us, not behind us. And we're going to need that kind of leadership day in and day out to fulfill the promises we made. And we made a lot of promises. A lot of them have been reported. Candidly, a lot of them have not yet been reported. And we've got to fulfill those promises to make sure this gets done on time and to make sure it's done to the level of expectation that all of us set. So I just want to congratulate Mayor Lee for his enthusiastic support and the members of the board that helped get us here. And I look forward, as the chair of the State Lands Commission, on a sincere note, to help steward this through the process that it requires through the state of California, and to be here as a liaison to the extent I can to other partners, federal partners, as well as private sector partners. Congratulations, everybody.
One of the leaders that we will have in the continuing conversations on implementing the America's Cup is Supervisor Ross Mercarimi, without whose assistance we wouldn't be here today.
Good morning. Good morning. It's an honor and delight to be here with former Mayor, Lieutenant Governor Newsom, and Mayor Ed Lee, and of course the rest of the city family. You know, many people refer to me as sort of as an early supporter of the idea to bring America's Cup to San Francisco. It somewhat puts it lightly, and as many of you know, for me it's a generational level of support, because growing up in southern Rhode Island, where Southern Rhode Island, Newport, was the host of the America's Cup for 53 years out of a 150-year tradition. Of course, that enthusiasm was compounded once we knew that Mr. Ellison had won the Cup, that San Francisco should pounce on the ability to try to become the host here. And naturally, we wanted to do everything we possibly could to work together as a city family to extend our abilities to secure that particular right. Needless to say, the people of Rhode Island are a little upset with me, and in my hometown, as my mom likes to remind me. I'm sort of kidding. They said, hey, you know, the politics thing doesn't work there, come back home. That idea is completely off the table. But as it relates, I think, to next steps, we're very appreciative of the fact of how the city family had came together in what was amid very extraordinary circumstances, from the Board of Supervisors to city departments, of course, to Room 200, as well as with the private sector, to be able to proffer what seems to be the strongest deal that we possibly could devise in meeting a deadline that really was imposed upon us. We also realize in the blessing of that particular agreement that there needed to be some massaging of those terms even after the board and the mayor and us signing that deal with Mr. Ellison, that those particular details of those terms and the massaging of it, I think, still need a proper vetting. And I know, as President Chu had alluded, we'll continue to be those watchdogs, as well as to be that pep rally in making sure that San Francisco does everything it possibly can in holding our citizens' interests and the people of the Bay Area, and making sure that all those details are exactly as we would see to be held accountable and hold true. The second milestone, to add to the corny nautical references that some of us like to pry time to time, while we want to keep our eye on the charts, we're also keeping an eye on the horizon, is the CEQA test. And for us to be able to pass the California Environmental Quality Act test is also going to require the city to come together, summon our abilities to answer what will be a high bar, but one that I am confident that we'll be able to answer over the next 6 to 12 months. That's critical because that, of course, will require a more substantive interface with the public itself. And the next thing, and ending on this note, that I know is important to all of our colleagues on the Board of Supervisors as Room 200, is the fact that of best of both worlds is that while we have done so much together to try to secure the rights of the America's Cup in hosting it here, we realize that tenant displacement or relocation is on people's minds. And we don't want to let that go unnoticed. So through a hearing that we have called at the Board of Supervisors, date to be announced, we will get into those details of the massaging of the terms and agreement and asking about what the city's ability are with regard to helping relocate those tenants, certainly that would like to be certainly repositioned and remain. That would be the best of both worlds. That is something that we'll strive to the best of our ability. Thank you, Mayor Lee. Congratulations. We really look forward to working with you, and this is a great first executive order for you to have announced. Thank you.
So Mark Buell is here today wearing two hats, one as the president of the America's Cup Organizing Committee and the other as the president of the Rec Park Commission. He's fond of saying that this America's Cup effort is really only going to be successful if all three legs of a three-legged stool are working together, and that is the city family, the America's Cup Organizing Committee, and the event authority itself. And we are blessed to have such a terrific champion for the America's Cup leading the organizing committee.
Well, thank you very much. We have the easy job. Our committee is going to raise about $30 million in the next 3 years to host the event in San Francisco, and we're committed to helping the event authority raise another $270 million to put on the regattas that lead up to and the hosting of the America's Cup. I want to thank the Lieutenant Governor. He asked me to do this about 6 months ago, and how can you turn down an opportunity to try and create an event in the greatest stadium God could create for the America's Cup? So I've already had a private conversation with him about getting engaged, seriously engaged in helping carry out this event. So, Mr. Lieutenant Governor, I want to thank you for that. To Mayor Ed Lee, I couldn't be more thrilled than to have this be his first act as mayor, official act, and also to list it as one of his top 3 priorities, because it's going to take an enormous effort on everybody's part to raise this money. But I'm delighted to say that I have not come across anyone that isn't fully enthusiastic about participating in trying to do it. So, Mr. Mayor, I know you're headed to Washington tomorrow. Senator Feinstein, the first words she said to me were congratulations. The second word she said was no federal money. And so I know you're headed there tomorrow. Perhaps you could demonstrate your persuasive powers while you're in Washington. At any rate, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here, and there'll be a place for you to drop your checks off on your way out. Thank you very much.
And finally, we would not be here today if the America's Cup Event Authority had not chosen so wisely and had chosen San Francisco as the venue for the 34th America's Cup. And it is an incredible pleasure to work with Craig Thompson, who is the director of the America's Cup Event Authority, who will be here facilitating the event and making sure that it meets all of the expectations of not just Larry Ellison and the Oracle team, but all of the teams that will be competing here.
Thank you, Jennifer. On behalf of all of us at the America's Cup, all my colleagues and everyone that's even associated with the Cup in any way, we're really pleased today that the new Mayor Lee has chosen to stand up and recognize the Cup so early in his new term. It's a great sign of support and confidence in what we're doing. I have to say the whole city has warmly embraced us and enthusiastically embraced us. We feel like everyone is reaching out to us to offer a hand, to do what they can to help make this the best event possible. The America's Cup Event Authority, our job is to stage this event, working very closely together with the people from the city, the Board of Supervisors, the Port Authority, with all the citizens of San Francisco. The Cup is coming home. It's been gone for a long time. And it's our job, together with all of you, to show the world what this Cup really can be, to break that new ground, to take it to the place where it's going to become a worldwide spectacle, not just among the sailing community, but a global sporting spectacle. We have the most perfect place, everyone agrees. We have the sunshine, we may be a little bit more wind here, but when we get that, you're going to see some giant boats. It's provisionally being planned that the race will start in this area. You see a diagram of the course over here. That's just kind of showing the race, where the race course will be. The actual course has not been defined yet. But when these cats get going in this wind at speeds of 40 knots, it's going to blow people away, and they're going to see something and sailing they've never seen before, with cameras on board showing the expressions on the faces. And one of the big firsts we have here in San Francisco, if you take a look at this picture on the left here, never before in the history of the Cup have people been able to watch this race from the shore. Imagine, I mean, it's like going to a basketball game with no fans. We're going to have now a live sporting event of sailing. And this is what it's going to look like. There's going to be literally thousands and thousands of people that are going to come out. A lot of them will never have known what sailing is before, but they're going to walk away going, wow, this is incredible. We're really happy to be here. Thank you again. We're looking forward to rolling up the sleeves. We've got to get some office space going and hire some people. But here we go. Thank you.
All right, thank you all for coming. We'll do questions off camera. Thanks, or off stage.